Let's go live, see if anyone turns up. We have someone turned up anyway, at least. I'm not on my own. I'll get a few more rack up first. I'm not talking to 10 people. That's just too embarrassing. How do, Howard? How are you? Evening, Chris. Let a few more guys get on that. I don't know what we're going to talk about. You can fire any questions you want. You can abuse me. It's Friday night, so anything goes, really. I was going to do my thing like this, but I thought it might be a bit inappropriate. As we are in a COVID kind of thing, but yeah, at least lose me double chill, I suppose, which is a bit of a bonus. If you could use this, actually, if I had two, I could cover Dean's chins. Barlow, that is. So, anyone got any questions? We're getting there. Getting a few up to about 50 now, so I'll start talking. That's more friends than I've actually got on Facebook, to be fair. And the wife's watching now, she must be bored. So, in a couple more seconds, I'll have a bit of a chat about what I've done in where I've got to now, really, with Preston Innovations and the fishing side of things. Been fishing a long time now, 40 years now, well, 40 years old, so yeah, got to talk about. Jamie Riding, best place around Milton Keynes to catch bream on the pole. Probably Teardrops Lakes, mate, be best. Like Pete Patton went last week, caught a fair few on there. I think he fished pellets about 13 metres, so that'd be worth a look. You won't get a bite at first on the pole from a bream, but Willen, not a chance. You might catch him at Black Horse Lake where I went yesterday, but you'd have to be really lucky with the wind hacking into you. So be a bit of a risk there. Go to Teardrops or go to the canal. Canal will be as good as any. Yeah, Wes Brooks, my best mate Wes is on there. I'll tell you a story about Wes to get us going on a Friday evening. If anyone knows Wes, he's what I call one of the nicest guys in the world. We're a bit wet behind the ears when it comes to getting grief. We fished Super League last year at Larford, and I drew next to his best friend and travelling partner Spud. And Wes was sat there giving it the big and sunbathing, laughing at me and Spud going to catch nothing, which we did catch nothing, so it don't really matter. But he went for a walk and he was giving it the big and about having a new suntan cream that his wife had bought and whatever. So when he's gone for this walk, I emptied it all out and sputtered some Cell, like mainline thing, Cell liquid, so I tipped all that inside his new suntan cream. And he come back, red hot day, like 30 degrees, and he's rubbed it all over himself all day long. And to say me and Spud were wetting ourselves is an understatement. He's the whole bank, everyone to be right, everyone to be left, everyone on the lake knew that he's got this Cell on. He's spent the whole day covered in bees, bumblebees, flies, little creatures have crawled up him and licked him all day. It wasn't until about 20 minutes from the end where he's finally twigged on. It's John Driscoll shouting down to him, well, Wes, anyone on your cell phone? And like, well, come on, Wes, comment on there. You weren't that embarrassed, were you? But we got any questions? Come on, fire a few questions now. Don't ask me how to catch hybrids either, because I ain't telling no one. Unless your name's Rod Scott. Apparently it takes about 30 seconds to get a question, so I'm keeping a watch out. I just see Dean Barlow's watching. If he's bound to abuse me, I'll be really disappointed if Dean doesn't abuse me. Wes loves the coconut. Yeah, Dean's right, the Wasps did love him that day. Yeah, Phil Bardell, he's probably been smashing up all the noddies today. Ground bait mixes for Ireland. Difficult one that. Whereabouts, Michael? On the pole. On the pole, I do something like black roach and brown crumb, or black crumb really, on the feeder. Brown crumb's a massive part of it. I don't think they're eating ground bait. I think you could feed pure brown crumb, but I just use the super feeder with brown crumb. You can't see any there. I've tidied my garage now. It's no longer a bomb site. But I think the most important thing with Ireland is you putting your casters and worms through the feeder properly, and squeezing your window feeder to get the bait down properly. I think loads of people squeeze it too hard, loads of people squeeze it too soft. You really want, I did have one here earlier, I was playing around, got a new big one there. You want to squeeze it so it will hang out the side, or you want it to hit the surface, break off and go down. I think people get too preoccupied with different ground bait mixes for iron. I don't think it matters whatsoever. I think it's all that, basically what you're putting in. And don't get me wrong, you can get through loads of bait. You get through a couple of 3-pinter casts and a kilo worm quite easy, especially catching 30 kilo of fish. Yeah, you see, one of my best friends, for lifelong friends, Paul Abbott's watching. He's new to Facebook. He's a bit of a Facebook virgin, so he could be, he will have some questions or some funny tales to tell about me on here. Morning, evening, Gary. But I started fishing. I lived in Maidstone down in Kent until I was about 9 years old, and I grew up fishing Moat Park Lake. And a good guy in there called Steve Clinchy, he might come on in a bit. He fished it as well, and I sat there fishing for about 2 years. My mum would take me and sit like in the car and watch me catch nothing. I don't think I caught my first fish for about 2 years, but I got the bug. And once you get the bug, you can't get out of it then. So carried on going, and moved up to Milton Keynes when I was about 9, 10 years old. I can't remember exactly, but that's when I sort of started fishing the Grand Union Canal, and I'm going there Sunday. And I spent many years fishing with Milton Keynes AA, fishing the Grand Union Canal, and learned my trade. It's not the canal it was nowadays. It's definitely changed. It's full of zander now, so the roach seems to have vanished, and it's predominantly skimmers. I'm going Sunday now because it's Division 1 National only this year, so I'm going to probably have a play around, find a team for that, and fish it. There's nothing else to fish at the moment, is there? So be a good match, that will. Be nice to see if you can see people like Northampton guys that used to fish it, like maybe like Steve Ringer. He grew up fishing the canal at Northampton with me and that as kids. We could well see him fishing the canal this year with no feeder masters going ahead, so it could be anything really. We could all be having a go. Dean Barlow, what's the best way to draw like you? You can never draw like me, Dean, or else I'll be in your position. Pear Tree Bridge, yeah, Pear Tree Bridge, yeah, we had some good days there, mate, didn't we? Gone a bit now. You wouldn't fancy drawing there now, to be fair. It's more chance of catching a carp or blanket along there now. It's been absolutely destroyed by zander, so it's a funny one. But yeah, I joined Milton Keynes, gone with them for a few years, so enjoy Shakespeare. It's all gone from there, really. I remember you on the Carl Taylor. I remember you on the Fazeley Canal when you were with Milton Keynes. Jesus, Carl, that's a long time ago. That would have been 1996 to 1999 with Milton Keynes on the canal then. So that is a long time, 22, 23 years ago. It's a good canal. I don't know how it fishes anymore, but it used to be a brilliant canal. Catch loads of fish on there. So I remember drawing the Platt Peg 3 matches running, so I can't see where people say I draw from, but I don't get it really. It's not that much of a flyer. It's only won about 12 matches. So not that bad. Oh, what's a few more questions? There's no abuse coming. I thought I'd get a bit of abuse. How did I become such a bream magnet, Leon? You can talk. You catch more bream than I do, Leon. Let's have a look on the results from each. You sort of peg one and caught a load. Carl Taylor correct that won the match that day. Yeah. I hated Pear Tree Bridge, Lee Porky Pratt. Yeah, I hate Pear Tree Bridge as well, to be fair. You wouldn't want to go there now. It's right by the hospital. We can't park, and it's all flat, so you wouldn't catch a lot. But what does everyone reckon this whole COVID thing's sort of kind of messed up our summer a bit, really? I know we're all safe and we shouldn't really moan about it, but it gives us a chance to change our fishing about, really. So I'm going to go on the canals. I'm going to go back on the rivers a bit. There's a few sort of club mates. A guy called Dave Tebbit runs around here on the river at Newport Pagnell, Sheraton direction. They catch big weights on the whip, stick float, little wagglers and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to have a bit of a bash of that this year. Like I say, I'm not going to travel miles and miles and miles to go and fish 20 or 10, 15 peg matches and bits and pieces. So we're just going to play it by ear and see what's going on, really. I've just got on that Albans Lakes Summer League next week. Graham West lives near me. He's one of the Preston guy. He's got me on there, so I don't know what to expect there. I hear it's all carp and odd skimmers about, and that. I say skimmers. He had one £8 on a pole yesterday, Graham, so it's a big fish. So we'll give it a whirl there. I'll probably come last in that because I don't really do that kind of fish. It's not really my cup of tea. Used to do it years ago, fish makings and regular fish makings, week in, week out for a long time. I fished, I don't know if anyone knows on there, Stephen, that'll probably tell you, and Dean. Used to have a 240 peg winter league on there. It used to be called the Gold and Silver League, and it was 240 pegs right across all the venues. It was probably the best league in the whole country for a long time. And we fished that, and it was back in the old days of carp in really. I was fishing like 0.1 hook lengths and 20 hooks on phase 3, catching carp like they're up to about £3 at the time. They weren't massive, but I did really well. I won the individual league on the gold and the silver the same year. So 240 peg winter leagues, won the individual both years catching carp, and on the same year catching carp. And the trick was I was going across, I was cupping in a pebble like that sort of size in the pole cups. The pole cups bent a bit, going over. I was cupping it into rushes. Then I was coming back, going over there, single caster, buried, yellow casters, always turning myself from yellow maggots. And when I got the maggots in the fishing shop, I brought them home and I fed them for 2 or 3 days on stinking old mackerel I bought from a fishing shop, and the old mackerel, dead baits now. And I let them sit on that, eat that for a few days, and turned them out yellow casters. And I never ever fed a single bean on phase 3. And I won the phase 2 or 3 times on that, and got like 500 quid a time for winning the phase. But that year I was cupping over little pebbles like that, put them into the bush on the far side, straight down, catch a few at the carp and that, and just that's why I did it there. And I drew a few good pegs on phase 1, like actually like A20 once, I think, in that league. You catch a few fish, but I miss them days. The venues changed out. That was when Billy was running it, and it was summer fisheries then when Billy Making had it. I tell you, it was like the league to be on, and it's changed and it's sad really. Dean Barlow, any tips for bleak on the feeder? Yeah, fish a slow sinking feeder that's got banned now because of us, Dean. Yeah, great, cheers. That was good, that was. 370 bleak in a 5-hour match. Paul Heaney, you're on the Moretti Beer. Are the memories of Ostolato? What matches are you planning on fishing in Ireland this year? Well, what else are you putting there? Considering, well, we're planning on the pairs, obviously, Paul. So that's the main one, the pairs. That's the one I look forward to most this year. It's the best match for me. It's the one to be on. When you look around at the draw on the pairs, and you've got world champions, you've got people like Bob Nudd, I'm a hero, Bob Nudd. It's just crazy. Tommy Pickering, like you look around, it's a field of world-class athletes. I think to be in a match like that and beat the best people, I think is the best kind of match. I know there's other matches that are fantastic to win over there, but for me, in my position with Preston and in the Irish team and that, I think I need to be fishing the big matches and trying to compete in them. And don't get me wrong, I've had a fantastic record in there with Rod. We fished it for 6 years now. We've had a fourth, a third, a second, a first, a third, a second. So it's pretty sequenced. So this year, hopefully, we're going to draw brilliantly and win it again this year. But I think I've framed the last 5 years in the Daiwa Cup, right? So I've drew good pegs, and what suits down there is the urn. The urn's just fantastic. So pairs for that one, and then I'm going to come home for a week, come and spend some time with the missus and kids. And like everyone knows me, knows I adore my kids and family and that. So I want to come home and see them. And then I'm probably going to go back again on the Saturday with Gaz Lambert. As Gaz is a real close friend of mine, I'm going to take him over there, and he's going to be in my section every day. I'm going to hammer him, and he's going to moan like mad about how small his fish are, and he's only got £6 and weigh 20 every day, because everyone knows Gaz is the biggest useless liar going, so beats me one of my best mates. But now hopefully I see in the Scara have obviously postponed their matches the rest of this year down in Coachford. We had planned on going there because I think obviously Feeder Fest is a cracking one to be on, with hopefully a world champ's going to be back there in a few years' time. So that was a big one for us to go on this year, but it's been cancelled. But I've heard on the grapevine there might be other matches taking its place at the same time. So I don't know. We'll wait and see on that one. I know there's a guy over there as part of the Irish team, Pat. He's looking at trying to get something off the ground, and if he does get it off the ground, we should all support him really, because the more people running festivals in Ireland and around the world, the better. Danny Wilson, yeah, I do think it'll go ahead. I don't see how they can't go, Danny, be fair, because everything's starting to open up, especially the festivals in the north, because obviously under UK sort of government schemes and that, they'll open up. I can't see how they won't open up, and they need tourism. Like everyone in Ireland needs tourism, and we're going to need to be going there and put money into it, and get there and spend a load of money beyond the bar, basically. But the pairs for me is the one. As long as I get to the pairs, I don't mind if anything else gets cancelled this year, but I want to get to the pairs. It's probably the best week. Go with Henchy and Stu, and we have a brilliant time. Chris Hill comes, and we all drink in the Castle Bar, and Ray looks after us, and pretend to drink him drive Guinness. So, which is what it's all about. It's not all about the fishing in Ireland. Anyone that just goes there and sits there and doesn't go out in the evening and stuff, for me, he's having a massive loss, really, because for me, Ireland's about going with, there's me, my little circle of friends, and I've always said we're really cliquey, and people say we're not cliquey. It's me, Sean, Roddy, Boo, and Cam when he's allowed to come, and he's not running people over. We sort of just go there and we click, and we just sit in the pub together and we talk about towels, and we just get laddered every night, basically. It's a real good time. Dean Barlow, if I could pick one peg on the urn, I'd probably go to, in May, I'd go to Broadmeadow on the bridge. No, I'd go to Round 01. Round 01, that's my peg. Round 01 in May, virtually, well, when they're there, it's brilliant. And then I'd go to peg 7 on the airport. Last year, that peg 7 on the airport's brilliant. It's like 7 foot deeper than the peg on the left. Roddy runs his matches. He puts stewards on his matches, so he asks like 5 or 6 like real close friends that he trusts to run the draw. Like each section of A, B, C, D, he runs a draw basically for each section. You stay the same section rotation every single day. So I've done my rotation, and I always I left the last peg in the bag to the end. And Gary Wally, anyone knows Gary, is like the straightest guy. He might take the watts out of everyone, but he's the straightest guy going. And I walked up to him and said, like, what's left, Gary? And he went, well, you've got a choice. You're going to win the match either way. I said, he goes, well, what do you mean? He went, well, you've got peg 7 at airport or peg 8 at airport. So I drew it for. I said, I'll draw 7 and leave 8 empty, so I have a spare peg. So I did. Caught 27 kilo. And next weight in the match that day was 12. So bang, perfect. With Feeder Masters postponed, are you going to get your Evesham kit out again? I might have a couple of qualifiers, Diddy, but I've booked to go with the family from down to Cornwall end of August. I cancelled 2 weeks in Spain because I don't feel comfortable taking the kids on the plane, so I just thought cancel it. Booked in a place called Wooder Lakes, which Sean Stenton recommended last year. Me, Dino and Gas stayed there last year for Feeder Masters final. Really nice place, highly recommend that to anyone. It was really, really, really nice. They even left me quiver tips there, and the guy rang me up and said, you left your quiver tips here, so he sorted me out on that. As it's Friday, we're going to have another beer now. But no, I'll probably get a couple of qualifiers, Diddy, and I won't go to Evesham. I wouldn't have thought to fish the final unless they get into a team somehow, but I doubt it. I kind of don't catch anything anymore. Colin Hard, can you please go easy on Auburn Lakes? You're having a laugh, in you? I've never been there. Probably get hammered. Wesley tells me it's all pellet waggler. Have you seen me fish a pellet waggler? It'll be like giving a cow a shotgun. It will be that bad for the first 2 hours. Come on, any other questions? Boo's on. I just see Boo's on there. Boo's banter. I can't believe Boo's not on where's it? Tinder. I bet he'd swipe right on this. Come on, we'll get a few more questions, boys. I'm bored of talking about myself. So where do we go from here? So let me talk a bit further. I joined Shakespeare Super Team. Jeff Perrin actually asked me to join, and the first time I joined, I caught nothing. I went to Morelands Farm. I think I scared the life out of me, thinking, what the hell have we got here? And I caught nothing. But then I slowly got into my step of things and that. And the first ever match I fished was at Basingstoke Canal, 2002. Won a Division 1 goal with Shaky, which was nice. And excuse me, Moretti's repeating. I then won 2 with Shakespeare, 2 Division 1 goals with Shakespeare, and joined Dye Dorking. And I won 3 with them, so it's a pretty good record on Division 1 Nationals. I won my section on the Gloucester Canal as well, which was nice. I just remember sitting there like 2 pegs from shore and Ashby shouting up to him and catching absolutely nothing for like 3 hours. And all of a sudden it's gone down the aisle, and I think I caught 17 bream in the last 2.5 hours for 15 kilo. Chris Hill, when are you going to teach Gaz Lambert to catch roach? I don't really know if we should go into that one here, but we may as well, might we? We may as well go into a bit. Obviously, Gaz is probably, in my eyes, one of the best bagging bream anglers in the country, bar nobody. So when he sits on a low fishing worms, I don't think there's many people that are going to beat him, to be fair. But what he doesn't do is he doesn't do loads of roach fishing. And to be fair to Gareth, he would be pretty good at it, but he just can't be bothered to go and learn it. So everyone just takes a mick out of Gaz and says he's probably the worst roach fisherman in the world. And I'm going to keep taking the mick until he goes out. What is hybrid juice? You ask Darren Davis what hybrid juice is. Can't tell you. What's your favourite all-round go-to ground bait? Sonu baits, F1 black. I'd use that everywhere in England. Canal, lake, anywhere. Catches bream everywhere. How many bites do you have on Black Horse the other day, Simon Brown? We had about 796, Simon, to be fair. We fished the feeder for a while and caught a few bream. I weren't really catching loads, to be fair. I had a few bites, but it's more a case of with filming. So when you're filming, you haven't done it, if you chuck out and you talk to the camera, and then you run down the bank because you missed a bite, and then Joe's driving you mad by putting a camera around your head, and then he's clipping you up to something else. So we get into that quite a bit. But when we got the pole line there, was just absolutely ridiculous. We've got new elastics coming out of Preston this year, so we've had a bit of a play around doing some filming with the new elastics, and they were just awesome. Henry is, I'll talk reply to my wife in a minute. But then the pole, I reckon if you fish the pole on a whipple day, you'd have caught 50 or 60 pound. Henry is watching me. He's my son. He's about 20 months old. He said, when are you going to take him fishing? So I'll take him to Ireland for 6 weeks next year. No doubt about that. Simon Shaw, what drink you drink? What beer? Ready. Do you chop a lot of redworms in Ireland? Contrary to popular belief, no. Everyone says I chop loads of redworms in Ireland, but I don't. I sort of use them as a hook bait, and when the peg's dead as a doornail, put a few in. I think you'd be fed them from the start. You'd be sick of them. It's like an impact bait halfway through. What do you prefer, summer or winter fishing? I'd rather catch 20-pound roach and skim than 200 carp in it. Yeah, it depends. Everything's got its place. Some days I'd like to catch 200-pound of carp. That day I qualified for the Drennan, the year I won it, the Drennan Knockout Cup, I caught 456-pound of carp in 5 hours. So that's pretty good, and I enjoyed that. Brilliant day fishing. Would I want to do it every day? Probably not, but there you go. Boo, one of my best mates. Miss your kid, best gauging angler in Staffs. Pub's open 20 July here in Ireland and open for Boo. Yeah, that means we're going to Ireland, hopefully. Boo seems to have got it sorted. What's your favourite hook for fishing on the Erne and why? What have I got you about that? Let's have a look. I used to use, I'll tell you what they'll be in. Give me a second. Used to use B560s all the time, to be fair. But since we brought these out, you can't see it. N30s basically, it's very, very. I don't reckon you'd be able to tell the difference between a B560 and that. Apart from that's black, which suits my fishing a bit better, really clear water. So by the time to real light, I thought 020, like it's proper gear. Like so, I've seen people fishing 014, 015 on the Erne and stuff like that. Like, why would you possibly ever do it? No brainer for me. Size 10 or 12 and 020 minimum. Mark Brush, what's your best ever day's match fishing, or is there too many to mention? Best day's match fishing, probably when I was 21 years old on the Erne. Last, it was a day after Alan Scott when I had 71 kilo off Sligo 2, I think he was on. I drew the Narrows at Queen Elizabeth Road. I drew the same peg the year before, and I blanked, never had a bite. So I was like a bit despondent. But I've gone down there, and it's like black, like proper black. So I've gone in, set one. I start the story a bit later. The night before, it was last night at the festival. Been like 30th or something. No good. Only young at the time. I didn't really care about fishing. I was more interested in going on the beers with the boys. And I spent all night with Rod in the bar, and we sat there till got to about 5:30 in the morning. He told me all night, all these northerners with me. I'm the only southern left. They're like, yeah, we'll go fishing, go for a draw in the morning, bud. Go for a draw in the morning. So I'm like, yeah, smashing it in. And he got to about 7:15, and I said to Rod, and he's like, I think Oggy might still been there. I think Mike Scott might have still been there. I can't remember, it's so long ago. And I said to Rod, right, go for breakfast. I'll drive, like being stupid at the time, like thinking 20 years ago. So I jumped in the breakfast queue, jumped up, like, all excited. Roddy's like, you stupid. I'm going to bed. I'm like, you've told me all night you're fishing. Like, it's one of my best mates. He's like, think he's going to come fishing. So I'm like, I'll go for breakfast. Someone, I think Bagley drove me down there, I think it might be that day. I drove down into town, I drew my peg, got to my peg, absolutely leathered, fell over about 4 times. I puked myself, I've had the diarrhea all over the bank and like proper rough. So I've sat down, tied one rig, I think I had £5 off a £6 Maxima straight through to, I'll tell you what, Mick Wilkinson lent me a Black Magic with a power gun, that was in it, to a size 8 perfect hook. And I fished 5 maggots all day, and before the start, there was quite a few guys come up to me, like a lot of my friends, to give me a load of bait. And so I had about 9-10 pints of cast that day and probably 12 litres of ground bait mixed up. And I boshed it all down. I caught fish and chuck from start to finish. And I weighed 91 kilos, 800. I would have caught more that day. Everyone keeps saying, oh, you'd have caught more. But £200 a lot of roach in anyone's book. Like I say, I was 21 years old. I was paralytic. And I'd like to see many people beat that. To be fair, Bob Nudd said to me, he was like, just fantastic that day. But I would have caught more, I'll tell you why. Right, we're back. I lost you for a second then. I've had a roach probably about 12 ounce, I suppose, to a pound. I've swung it, and it's come towards me. You're going to catch him. I've hit it. It just hit me there. And I've put the size 8 hook right through the end of my nipple. Like, right through the end of my nipple. So I've got 5 metres of pole in my hand here. I've got a great big roach going Garrity on my chest. And I've got a hook through my nipple. And like, it hurts. I don't mind a bit of pain, I quite like it at times, but that hurt. So I've had to put the pole down between my legs, cut the hook off, pull the roach over the spade. So that now there's like, I'm bearing in mind I'm sat in Enniskillen, middle of Enniskillen, and it looks like I've been shot. I've got blood all down my top. I've got a hook through my nipple. So I've tied another one on, and I've pulled the roach on. I'm trying to fish, and I've got this hook there, and it's catching me every time I do anything. It's catching me, so it's really, really sore. So like in the end, I've got me got the scourger, and I've put it on there. And I'm like trying to get. It's got a big ass barb on it. I'm like trying to get it off. So I was like, got the scourger, and I've gone bang, hit it. Jeez, and he pulled my nipple off. There was blood everywhere, and like I've had to change my t-shirt. Like, I have a spare t-shirt and that in the car. I've changed it, but that was, and like, I carried on fishing and caught. I ended up catching 91 kilos, 800. But the funniest thing about it was, like, back in the day, we didn't carry 2 nets and stuff. So I've carried on firing all these roach, like, in 1 net. So matches are finished, and I've gone away in, and there's like probably on the railings behind them, it's like on the QE road, there's probably 50 or 60 people sat watching me behind me. So I'm like, well, I've caught a load of fish here. And I lift the net out, and so I've got down 1 ring, so 1 ring down, and there's roach, and it's black from the second ring down all the way at the bottom. So I've looked round, and I don't know any of you guys know this guy called Brian Rayfield, a guy called Barra. Like, a lot of you guys that go to Ireland would know Barra pretty well. He's a great real big guy. Like, what would he be? 6'3" and probably 25 stone of muscle. And I turned around and I said, "Wait, Silverback, down here!" And this lad next to me went, "Okay, you must know him pretty well." Barra's come over, and ended up, I can't remember who was there now, to be fair. There was about 6, 7 lads. I was a skinny little rat at the time. I've got no muscle on nothing on me then. So there's 6, 7 guys who had to get in the water and weigh me in. About 7 or 8 weight, 91 kilo under. That's definitely my best weight ever. Like, I don't see that ever, but I think that's the best weight of roach for I don't think there's been a better weight of roach from that since 2001. I know Tommy caught a great big net of bream off Sligo 1, so that's probably the last. I can't see them days ever returning, to be fair. They've just gone forever. I think the venue's too clear. The muscles obviously came in the system and changed things about, and I might be wrong, but I can't see it going back to the way it's going to, like them heydays and that. And I think nowadays it's a bit more finesse. Like, some of the best anglers there now are like Boo and Sean, who have like really good on the slider. Sean catches loads on the slider. Bobby Nudd's really good over there. Like, he was quite good last year. We got a few wines in him last year. He told us about fishing for roach properly, and I've changed all my hook lengths about after speaking to Bob about that. So that's really helped me with me fishing over there. But any more questions? We've got a few. I don't even know how long we're going for now, to be fair, rabbiting on. But, I'll quickly tell you about probably the proudest moment I got in fishing is the Drennan Knockout Cup. I lost my dad in 8th of May 2013, because I was fishing down at Monk Lake. The only one time I've been there, and my dad passed that day. It's the only time I've been there, and I was meant to fish. Basically, this was a Wednesday, and my dad was buried in Spain on the Saturday. And I flew back on the Sunday morning because the first round of the Drennan Knockout Cup, Packington and Barston, was on the Monday. And Diddy sort of took me under his wing a bit then, really, and sorted me out, and bits and pieces like that there, and got me fishing again properly then. So I got through then. I got through every single round, and had that massive weight. I can't remember the name of the place. Cobhouse Fishery. Like, I think Lee had 530 pounds or something stupid like that. I think lowest weight was 370 with Diddy. I had the lowest weight and didn't catch for an hour. But getting to the final, obviously, Les Thompson come along, give me a big lift on bits and pieces, told me how to fish down the edge from and that. So that was massive. Probably won me the day, really. The first day I was catching nothing. Lee was giving me a right tuning up, and what Les told me worked, fish down the edge, and it sort of worked really well. Caught £140 that day, and then I caught £70 chub the second day. But if someone said to me now, you can win it now, not win the money, every day, then the week I would not win the money. That was my dad that year. So that's probably my biggest and proudest achievement in fishing wise, really, to be fair. Any news on this big NHS match, Robert Lem? Yeah, massive news coming. I will go through it next week. The app's been done. It's pretty amazing, to be fair. The guys that's done it's going to do a video for me. It basically allows you guys to, you can all download it free on Android and iOS to your iPads, phones, whatever you want to use. Android, iOS, but then what you can do is it gives you basically it makes it free for fishery owners, and their fishery owners can go on there and just pick Milton Keynes AA, go on there, local group to me. They can register the club on there, say they've got 100 pegs at Thurs and 100 pegs at Willen, for instance. They can then go on there, sell the pegs, the money will go straight to them, the proportion going to the NHS charities. So that's available to fishery owners all up and down the country. I can log straight on there and do that. It's also the biggest part for me is I can do my NHS match across the whole board that weekend. I've not even decided the date. I can't see a date being this year because what's the point trying to do a date and squeeze it in this year? So that'll be probably next summer really. I'm going to do that, but it gives me a lot of planning, a lot to do. It's going to be a good one. But the biggest thing for me, it's going to be open to fishery. Like any guys that want to run a match, be it a 5-pegger, a 10-pegger, a 15-pegger, they can log on. They can type their club in. They can specify how many pegs they. Oh, let me get rid of these people, man. They can specify how many pegs they want to fish. So you can have a 10-pegger on Kennet Avon Canal. Say my friend John Williams is going to run a 10-pegger on Kennet Avon Canal. You can go on there. You can put on there Kennet Avon Canal 10-peg match. You can then specify how much his pools are. You can specify if he's having 2 5-peg sections. You can then put a percentages in of what he wants the payout to be. So it'll all be online. Everything's on the line, perfect. And there's even a button there. You can press a button and it will randomly generate pegs. So say that if there's a 100-peg match, it will randomly generate pegs 1 to 100 allocated to every single angler. So it's a fantastic, amazing app, and it's going to be available. I've spoke to the guy's wife who runs the company this afternoon. I've got to send some more feedback from mine. I've asked a couple of my closest friends in the UK to have a look at the app and send feedback on it. So we're getting there. It's going to be very exciting. Basically, it will take out all the hassle of running the match. You've got to do it all on your phone. We've all got mobiles. We've all got stuff now, so it's going to be very, very clever. There's even a section on there where obviously we're weighing in. We don't want to be weighing in like this, don't we? Everyone walking around weighing in with gloves on and all that sort of palaver. So you can take that off. There'll be a section on the app where, as I walk along and weigh you in, I can take a photo of the scales we stood beside it, and it'll upload straight away to the app, so you'll be able to tell. There'll be no saying, oh, I thought you had £16 or you had £12. It's there, black and white in a photograph, and it gives me a chance to not just do one way. I can go 5, 6, 7 ways. I have 7 photographs in a line that will show everything on there. So everything is above board. So it's real. It's kind of like trying to drag match fishing into the modern era, really. And I hope loads of guys get involved in that. And thing is, all the percentages are going to the NHS charity match. So if like 5p from every single peg that's sold across the UK, and match anglers can use it. Anyone can use it. Open to everyone to use. They can go on there, run their matches, and it being safe from COVID. And because this is not going away, boys, it's going to be here for the next year or so at least. So they can go on there, run their matches, and do it in a nice, safe way. So yeah, my match, the big NHS one, I haven't worked out how to do it yet, really. I spoke to a few guys, got some ideas. I think what we're going to try and do is do like a one-off match, and maybe June next year when this is all gone, and we can bring family down. You can bring your wife down, you bring your kids down, do barbecues, and raise as much money as we can that way. So we have to play it by ear. But the app's coming. It's going to be called the Gratitude Cup, and loads of percentages, and that will be going straight to the NHS charities and all the match anglers in the country. Hopefully, you download it. There's going to be a segment on there for you do your profile, so you can log matches and bits and pieces like that. So it's very, very interesting, very, very clever. What's my next angling ambition? Ricky Holsworth. I'd like to win the World Pairs for the Diver Cup for a second time. Won the Diver Cup when me and Roddy won the pairs, and I beat him last day, which he desperately, desperately hates, and I don't remind him about it every time I speak to him. But that'd be the one, yeah. And I'd like to draw me kahunas off and get a World Championships in Ireland on a Scar or somewhere, and win the World Championships, draw 2 MPEGs, happy days. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But we shall wait and see. Yeah, there is a lot of thought going into Robert. There's Robert Lem just said, great idea, loads of thought going into that app. There's a monstrous amount of thought going into the app, and hopefully it'll be a running total on the front of it, so we can Les Thompson, what you like at snooker? Always need snookers to beat me, Les. Nothing changes. Oh, where's Dean? Can't have gone. There's no way Dean's gone. He's just waiting for me to talk about him. So where do we go from now, fishing wise, in this country? Anyone got any ideas of where we're going to go? Feeder Masters cancelled, obviously. I think it's a really, really smart move by Lee Kerry and Mick Viles. I don't see how they can run a match like that and keep everyone safe. Just for example, Diddy runs one of the Gloucester Canal. How's he meant to take all the pools money, pay it out, do a draw? I don't see how people can do it, really, safely anyway. Like I say, there'll be ways of doing things and bits and pieces, like a bit easier on commercials because you've got the big car parks, and they could maybe put a marquee up and peep people in the cars and stuff and that. But I don't know. Riverfest, Chris Kelly to Riverfest. Yeah, I'd like, excuse me, This beer is not good, mate. It repeats. I've only ever tried to qualify for Riverfest once, and I caught £4.15 at some place at Burton. I can't remember, Primali or something. Maybe a few people would tell me, but I drew a really shallow peg, and I only got £4.5 or something. But it won me section. I got first. Any time I fished down, I drew right. I caught a few fish in the final. I think I come 7th in me one and only attempt at Riverfest. I would like to do it, but I don't see how you can do everything. That's the problem. Do you think Fisho should go ahead? Yes and no. Yes, because it's on telly and promotes angling. If they can do a draw safe, I can't see any reason why not, basically. Who's your favourite angler of all time? Phil Wintle taught me how to fish. So Phil Wintle by head and shoulders above everyone, to be fair. Won 2 Division 1 Nationals, Phil has, so by a long way for me, Phil Wintle. What's your main attack at Southfield? My main attack at Southfield is get in the car as quick as I can and get home, because I caught nothing usually, be fair. Oh, and I got a speeding ticket last time, so that was nice. Yeah, on the A1. Twice, actually. I went on twice. Once last year, twice last year, yeah. So I am stupid, I can't even remember. What's your favourite bit of kit? My favourite bit of kit's this. Let me show you now. I'll get off. My Inception chair. That is my favourite bit of kit from Preston, by a long way, because when I'm feeder fishing or sat in the garage talking and drinking beer, I can sit on that. Oh, someone give me something else to abuse me. You're being quite mild, to be fair. Will be different. I don't think Fisho final will be the same about crowd. Yeah, it's going to be no crowd, is there? I can't see there being a crowd at Fisho final, not a chance. And even a social, mind you, if you went to get anything by Hyde Parks to go by, there could be loads of people there, so I don't know. Might be on. It'd be nice to be on, because obviously there's a lot of people that like have lost lives and stuff and that, and like what we should do is have a bit of a thought, really, all you guys out there. Like one of my close friends, Mick Cotton, passed away yesterday morning. Mick was one of the likely lads back in the day, and I think he's heard of rumour his funeral's going to be on the 16th of June this year, so start of the river season, which is quite apt. If I'm allowed to go, I'll be at the funeral. If I can't, I'll be stood outside the church. So that's what he meant to me. One of fishing's all-time greats in my book. Really taught me how to bloodworm fish, and I've still got his scrapers up there somewhere. Scott Doosan, what's your best bream skimmer setup, rod and reel wise? For long distance over sort of 50 metres, I just love me distance masters 13.2, and great big reel braid. 012 braid, but I fish it, always fish. There you go, we see on there. Me helicopter rig. I've seen a few people have it. Like I just done a video yesterday with Joe, and they have the feeder link really close together, like down like that, and like I just think that's pants. You just get loads of tangles. I've played around with it for so long now, and I always think you need to be at least 2 or 3, at least 3 inches apart, really. And I have no knot there. That gripper stop there holds it so tight you don't really need a knot. Daniel Webb, how much fishing did you actually do when you were out with Joe? Oh, I fished all day, Dan, obviously. Yeah, you know better. Pete Patton said he taught you all you know about feeder fishing. Yeah, he did. It lasted about at least 7 seconds, and then we finished. Mind you, I just see Ian Pretty join. He didn't teach Ian Pretty, because I think Pete Patton's beat Ian Pretty 13-0 off the next peg today on Black Horse Lake. So I think Ian needs to change his ground bait a little bit, to be fair. What are you doing if the pair doesn't go ahead? Boo mentioned there's Bell Turbot Festival. If matches on, will be good. Yeah, there will be a Bell Turbot Festival. I'll be running from this. John Hayes runs it from the same pub we drink in, Chris. So yeah, it'll be inundated with superstars there. What was a nice little festival will end up with Sean Ashby, Bud, Roddy, Boo, Chris Hill, Gareth Lambert. They'll love us. Do you think some big waters need to sort out access to get? Yeah, Carl, but you are right. But how do you do it? You can't do anything for free. The biggest example for me is Mucklow in Ireland. It's probably, in my eyes, the best match venue in Ireland. It's so fair, and the access is phenomenal. But the money Dick Caprice has had put into it, it's just outrageous. Like, the guy's so well known by locals and government and stuff. He's just sorted out. It needs someone like Dick to get on board and do it, and have the time to do it. And who's got time to do it? I haven't got time to do it. I've got my own business, got a young family. Most people have. So, can you show us our rig tray, Daniel Webb? Are you having a laugh? Not a chance. There's my rig tray. Look, I'll show you my rig tray. Look. There they are. Look, they're in the corner there. Biggest thing about fishing now is you can't weigh in good-looking kit. If it's dirty, it means it's normally caught something. What particle baits do you use most for fishing with bream? Casters and worms, really. I use quite a few pellets. Use thin, sort of 2mm Fin Perfects, quite a bit soaked up. Do soak them in different glugs and stuff and that, but worms and casters are best, really. To cut the casters out, if there's a load of roach in your peg, don't feed casters. It's quite a simple one, really. That's probably the biggest thing. I see loads of people do. Keep piling casters in left, right, centre, and then with a peg where you can't hook anything. So that's for me. Pete Archer, Ian Pretty's gone into hiding. Yeah, I would as well if I was Ian. I'll tell you what I have become this year is an alcoholic during lockdown. Oh, plug my phone in, look, the battery, hang on. I'm having a moment. Are we there? Ah, Ian's there. Alright, Ian. I've got a sore neck. So, where do we go for fishing? Drawing Dorking. Actually, one of the big matches I did do really well in before I joined Dorking. It was a match before I joined Dorking. I won with Shakespeare. We fished the World Club qualifiers on Evesham. I drew 24, which is first by the bridge. Come second in my section with 2 kilos 500 or something the day after. And I drew down the bottom the second day about peg 61, and I caught 3.5 kilo of perch and had 3 points and won the World Club Champs fish off. That was a real nice one to win, to be fair. Pete Archer, do you think you'd have won even more if you drew like Phil Bardell? I think Leanne would have won a festival if she drew like Phil like Bardell, to be fair. So I would ignore that one. Best angler of all time. Best angler of all time. For me, best angler of all time has to be Bob Nudd. I dare anyone to argue with me on that about that. Impossible. I don't know how bad Bob is now. He hasn't told me. And was it 4 times world championships? More matches than I'm ever going to win in 5 lifetimes. Probably like one of the nicest guys to tell you about anything. Don't think there's anyone better than him, to be fair. Ian Pretty, yeah. Ian, stop jumping on me post, will you? We've caught nothing. Now leave it alone. Remember that pound you won off me at Ferry? Yeah, that's because you caught a £7 bream last cast, man. That don't count. I lost one. That's a big thing for me though. Fishing wise, I look at them, the guys up there that run matches at Southfield, and I really wish they lived down here because they've got that venue ticking over proper, like 50-60 peg match week in, week out. We have to have nothing like that down here. And I know probably more of us guys work down here than you guys up there, but how can you have like 30 and 40 on a midweek open? We don't get 20 on a bloody weekend. Would you get an English feeder team on ability? I doubt it. Come on, let's have another question. Yeah, Andy Renton and just fantastic. Like I've tried to fish a few of their matches up there, them qualifiers in the midweek, but how can you? It's like it's a day off work. It's 142 miles door to door for me, so I'm leaving at sort of 4:30, 5 in the morning to get to the draw and getting home at 10:30 at night. And God, I'd love them to be down here and do matches. I feel so envious of all them guys fishing up there, but it is what it is. Do nothing about it. We try to organise matches down here. Most guys in our area want to sort of, they've been there, done it with Milton Keynes and that. Yes, you would get in, and Roddy. Yeah, I knew you'd say that, Bob. Yeah, I think Roddy should be in, but that's tell you what, the biggest waste of natural fishing talent. I don't care what anyone says, and Bob will back me up now. The best angler who doesn't go fishing in this country is Roddy, because I don't see anyone can not go fishing from September to May and pick up within a day and beat people and win festivals. Like 32 festivals, like, it's ridiculous. That takes some doing. I don't fish all through winter really, and I hit the ground running. But Roddy's just ridiculous. Don't go fishing and just turns up and wins. Rod or pole if you had to pick up. I always pick up my 13.2 distance master, and to be fair, everyone's going to laugh at this. I'd pick up my response carp pole, because I use that everywhere really. I used it in Ireland that day, 16 kilo, next to Bob on that Inish Fovo. It blew an absolute hurricane, and I fished that all day, and it was a brilliant pole. Like, do anything with it, swing anything, catch eels, caught some big eels on it, and that's what I'd pick up. 13 metre response carp, cheap, with very much like 1,500 quid pole, and you probably get it cheaper online. 7 years ago, that was a 3 gram pole. That was like, that's how much technology's changed in the last sort of 7 years, like ridiculous. And it changed all the time, but yeah, I'm a bit, anyone that knows me, I like to break stuff, and I'm pretty good at trying to break stuff, and I'm really, really heavy-handed. So for me, that I fish a carp pole more than I do a normal pole, because I'd like to strike. I don't like to lift into fish. I like to whack it, especially when you fish like a top 6 deep and like a 3 or 4 gram. I don't see the point in messing about. So if you're going to hit it, you're going to strike a bit hard. Don't mess about. And the biggest one I remember striking watch years ago was I watched Phil Ringer on Makins on Crater 3 fishing paste, and he struck one day and he took the sun out. It was that proper strike, and that's what I've always done since. Proper fishing. Long time ago. That must have been, Jesus, that must have been 25 years ago. A long, long time. Been out on the beers a few times there in Northampton, back in our heyday, being in the 20s. Me, Phil, Rooney, Steve was out, Rolly McAnini, Jem Collins. Who else would have gone out there? Abbo, Dizzy, Bagley. Jez O'Neill used to run the door, believe it or not. That's a name from the past. Jez O'Neill. So we used to get into that. I can't even remember now. Steve might, if he's on here now, tell us what the name of the nightclub was. Jez used to get us in all for free. So that was quite good fun. A long time ago now, though. Before we all grew up and had families. So, where was I getting to now? Dorking. Joined Dorking. One of the first things with Dorking was at the start was how professional it was. Like with Stevie Sanders, like, if you didn't toe the line, you got a bollocking, which is good, really. And we went up and fished the New Junction Canal. And I roomed with Steve Gardner. And like, Steve had always been like an idol of mine growing up. I ain't showing so pictures on the wall of like Bobby and Steve and that when I was growing up, and like when you're a kid you want to aspire to be them. And Steve Sanders put me with him, room with him, and he woke up at about 3 in the morning, Steve Sanders, and he asked me what ground bait I thought, and I was just like, I don't know, whatever you tell me to use. And he worked out a plan, Stevie Gardner, and we just took the national apart, record points. I think I was 6th in my big section with like 3 kilo or something. Steve won the national. Just like an unbelievable result, especially in Barnsley's back door, because they're obviously the team to beat, and like we just damned them basically that year, and that's probably the best performances I've ever seen for a national team. Matt Benwell, yeah, what's that about? Matty Benwell drew a couple up for me at Sandfield last winter, one of them winter laugher thing qualifiers, and he had 5 bream. And you only see the bites on 2 of them 3 times. Bearing in mind it's the middle of winter, he's picked up to reel in. He's picked up and gone. I'm like, what is that about? Because his feeder lands about 900 miles an hour. Goes, there's about 3 foot deep in sill. So he's basically fishing a straight lead. And them silly old northern bream have dived in, picked up a skanky old maggot, and just sat there chewing it for half hour until he's picked up. Ridiculous. Tim Dove, where's the Guinness? Oh, I'm still depressed about not being in Ireland for May, Tim, so I'm not having Guinness tonight. Because it makes me fatter than I already am. Bear in mind I've put on £6 in lockdown, which is not good. Bear in mind I lost like 2.5 stone. So me and the wife started watching what we eat again today, and that's gone really well. Bearing in mind I'm on my 2nd bottle of Moriarty now. Which is not so good, but we'll get there. Any more questions to annoy me with? No. Come on. So I think what we talk about now, really, fishing wise. Well, I think first ever match win. When I was Phil Wintle, basically, a guy called Phil Wintle took me under his wing when I was about 13. Obviously couldn't drive. Lived in the next village to me. Took me fishing week in, week out, everywhere. Like wherever I wanted to go, Phil took me. I got to about 14 years old. He said to me, "I think you've got you're okay to fish your first open now." So he picked me up and took me to Canal at Thedingworth, and there was like 60 on it. So I was proper overawed by the whole occasion. Like 60 people, 60 grown men, and I'm fishing against them. And I should have realised there it's all going to go. I drew peg 1. And I've gone in and I've caught £3, 14 ounces, 12 grams. Because I remember it now to this day. First ever match win. First ever match win. There was, I think it was 58 or something on it. So I weighed 314, whatever it is, and I run down the bank to Phil, like he's like my second dad. And I found him, and I'm like, I've had 314, I'm at 314. And he's like, 314 what? I'm like, has it happened? We both had 314.12, and we come joint first in the match. My first ever match over fished, 60 pegger. I had 314. I won it. A joint winner with Phil. So that's me probably a real big memory of match fishing. Do I miss the Drennan Knockout Cup in Didcot? Massively, massively. I think that was the best ever competition in the UK because it challenges you on every single venue. Like, just it was the best, and all the best anglers won it. Basically, if you were the best at everything, you got there and did it. And the same people got to the semi-finals year in, year out. I think I had 4 semi-finals, and then I won it once. But like, just ridiculous, just the quality. But that's what I like about it. It challenges. You can't just be a river angler. You can't just be a feeder angler. You can't just be a pole angler. You've got to be able to do everything, which is what I liked about it. Yeah, and made some good friendships there. Tell us about your day at Willen a couple of weeks ago, mate. It was solid, mate. The video's gone on the Sonu Baits page today about it, but it was. I got there at like 7:45 in the morning. Walked through. I can't get a Milton Keynes today. Walked along. We've been there night before. Me, Pete, Pat, and the kids, and pre-baited it. Put a few feederfuls out, and chucked out the start. And it's gone down, hit the bottom, and gone. I said to Pete, "I've had a bite." He was like, "No, I'm not having that." And it's gone. Massive liner. So I'm like, there's obviously a few there. I've chucked out again. Sat in the slip. Gone. Remember about £9 first chuck. I'm like, looks at Pete. He's like, "That's the only bite we're going to get." So basically, Jake was coming from Sonu about 9 o'clock. So in the first 20 minutes, I probably caught 5 bream for £40, £45. I was like, I have to stop fishing here. I can't. If I keep fishing, and he turns up and I don't catch anything, it's gonna be highly, highly embarrassing. So I stopped fishing, and Jake turned up. I said, "I'll catch you one now." First chuck, Jake. So I chucked out. It's gone. I had one like probably nearly £11 first chuck. And I'm like, he just looked at me. He's like, "Oh my god." And we've caught some monsters there, and people have been on it week in, week out since there. Really, I mean, probably 3 weeks ago we did that, and people have been on there. I know Graham Holt went last week, got 4 big tench and a couple of bream. But I think me and Peach caught it right. We were catching bream for fun. Like, I think I've had 15 and spent half the day filming, like doing cutaways, and just sat on the bank with Jake talking about fishing and just doing all the filming and bits and pieces. And if you'd fished it properly, you'd have caught a ridiculous weight. Peach just fished like a method feeder all day and just prodded his way to about 15 bream as well. And so he's had some well into double figures, like probably £12. Peach probably had them bigger than me, to be fair. Just awesome fishing. And places like that, it reminds me of Ferry, but probably for, like, say, Ferry just got hammered the last few years, been hammered, so it's a shame, really. And I think Steve hit on. I spoke to Steve the other day on a text message, and he said like that the reason Ferry's back is because no one's putting nets in. And a prime example of that was last week at Sandfield. Like, they've been bagging week in, week out at Sandfield for catching 20, 30, 40, 50 bream. They put a match on it, and like 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish, 4 fish, 5 fish. It's just so obvious that we're firing bait in and catching them pleasure fishing. We're not putting them in nets, and bream are notoriously bad for being put in nets. They hate it. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever photographed bream. You do a feature and that, they just go. You can't photograph them when you start going red and blotchy straight away, and they just get net rash. And that's why it's a real difficult one, really. That is, I think if it was me and all natural thing, I would ban keep nets across. Probably a bit of a contentious subject, but I would ban keep nets across all forms of fishing apart from match fishing, because I don't think it does the fish any good. And like, people do abuse the right and put too many fish in, like, but I think you just got to be a bit careful, really. From my point of view, everyone's got their own point of view, but my point of view, I'd ban keep nets apart from fishing in matches. I think it does the fishing the whole road well better, but that's only my point of view. Anyone else got any questions? Because I don't know what time it is. I'm getting to the point now where I might be getting on a fair bit. Give another couple of minutes. Anyone have questions about Ireland before we wrap it up? But yeah, I just thought my father-in-law come on it. It said Pete Golding's watching, but my father-in-law was called Pete Gould. He fainted then. I thought I'd best watch me P's and Q's. Yeah, old Pem's on. There'll be a danger. So, just going back onto a bit, Cathel's come on now. One of my real good friends, Cathel. One of the touching a bit. Daniel Webb just touched a minute ago about show me your rig trays. I'm not the best at doing prep because I just can't be bothered with it really. So I've been obviously with Preston. They just send me the spools and just put them in your tray. And if I can get away with using them, I'm gonna get away with using them. It makes me laugh. I did a feature a few years ago with but I mean, we were Preston did like a knocker, like a head-to-head thing, basically angles against each other. And back at the time, Scott Jeans was boss of Preston, and they put me against Scott. We fished 7 meadows on the River Trent, 7 Avon, Warwick, and I'd be busy at work, and I had no chance. So I just turned up with a load of ready rigs, Preston ready rigs, and smashed him up. And just goes to show that you don't always have to spend hours and hours and hours tying your own rig. You can buy rigs off the shelf that work perfectly well. They're that good a quality nowadays. It's frightening. How many times a year do you fish in Ireland? What did we do last year, Clive? We did 2 weeks in May. Basically, because of the family, I don't want to leave the kids for like 3 or 4 weeks at a time. I went last year. I did Mahon's week. Excuse me, 1 Mahon's week. Come home, then had a week in Butlins with the kids. Then went back to Ireland to fish the Mal Scott Memorial. Roddy's dad's memorial match, fished that. Then I came back and I fished, did the pair, did 3 weeks last year. But this year, I was hoping to do 2 weeks in May, a week in September, a week in October. But now it might look like just 2 in September, a week in October. Or as many as possible, really. Cathal Hughes on the Italian beer. Well, no point in Cathal being on it because he wouldn't buy one, would he? What's your best groundbait mix for deep water in Ireland? I use Black River. I do. That's the best one by a long way. And I do sometimes add, which is really deep and it's flowing like a mad. I use some PV1 binder. I don't remember that. It's like a real stick, like a molassesy kind of thing. What's the best way to fish tunnel? I haven't got a clue. Yeah. Also, I know it's a bit funny, but I do take a couple of bags of Terre de Riviere to Ireland in case you draw some real deep pegs, like on corner grade, and it's got a bit of movement. That way you can bosh some bait straight down to the bottom. So that's a funny one. Can't remember. Ray, you don't know me at all. Tunnel Barn, I've only been there once. I think I got hammered that time as well by Ed Warren off the next peg. So, right, we're getting to a point now. My phone's going to die, so I hope you enjoyed it. I've had a bit of a crack for you boys and that. Hope as you missed it. Yeah, I've still got that white bike. It's in the garage, Danny, to be fair. Good luck at the weekend. Try and stay safe. Don't go take any risks weighing in bits and pieces, guys. It really ain't worth it. Keep an eye out on my page. I've got my own fishing page now. I've had to set it up because I've got so many people trying to message me on the actual main page and that. I've run out of friend space and that. So go on there and watch out for stuff about this app. It's going to be free to download, free to use. There'll be a percentage taken at the NHS just to cover the cost of the app, and that'll be it. It's really, really is going to be a good idea for fishing. So look after yourselves and tight lines.